Should have multiple stages of goldenrod this year. The one on top of the ridge here is flowering. It's all goldenrod in the lower part here too, but that's not flowering yet. And behind it at the bottom of the valley slope there, it is flowering. And then I collected mulch out of these two areas on either side of the dark green strip here. That's all goldenrod and that's growing back. And I think I'm going to do a foliar feed experiment on that. And foliar feed part of that with trace mineral nutrition, enzymes, biostimulants, and inoculants, and see what kind of a growth difference we get. Might be a good example of the difference that you can get in soil very rapidly with the appropriate action to correct the soil or to accelerate the soil biology as well as the health of the plants. Anyway, I just thought I would come out and have a look at what pollinator action is going on. The honeybees are streaming in and out of there, but I haven't seen too many of them in the goldenrod here. One or two, but not when I had the camera with me. I'm going to take a little closer look at this other patch over here that seems to be opening up in full flower and see if I can find any honeybees. But apparently they're not hitting this yet, so I don't know what they're going after. We'll just take a quick look at the clover here. I see a bee, but I don't think, I think that's a wild pollinator or some kind of bumblebee. There's a honeybee in the clover. Do I got him in camera, in frame? There you go. Okay, so they are hitting some of the clover here, so that's good to know. Amazing how they hang so delicately off each part of the flower. So I guess I should mention this whole strip in the middle has been mowed more frequently, and so that's spread this white clover all through here. And usually I'll let it grow up and go to seed, go to flower, go to seed, and then I'll mow it under, and that keeps spreading it in here. So it's all spread through here, so that was one sort of adjustment I made just with some mowing. And you can see there are spots where there are some pretty hefty patches of clover. And they all look pretty healthy, nice big flowers on them and all. Nice dark green leaves. I'll bet we can get a whole lot more honeybees in here in the spots where the foliar feed comes across here. I think we're going to do this experiment. Yeah, there's a honeybee. Okay, so they are working some of this open goldenrod too. That's good to know. And you can see there's also bumblebees and those little tiny, all different types of little tiny pollinators too. So good pollinator diversity here. Nice to see a healthy, happy ecosystem, and glad to see my honeybees integrating into that seamlessly as they do. Looking forward to the rest of this opening up into full flower and getting a few sunny days where the sugar content will be higher in the plants. We should see a lot more honeybees in here as that happens. Next couple days I think are supposed to be sunny and clear and mid-80s. So it should be excellent weather for it. I'll see what other photography I can get. With the partly cloudy and the rain we had yesterday, the sugar content must be lower. I see lots of scanning, but no collection at the moment, which is interesting. As a side note, a honeybee will not visit a flower that is lower than 7 bricks. So, something to think about. Bumblebee, the tomatoes. I'm told that a honeybee can't actually access the flowers on tomato plants, so that's something interesting to note. Oftentimes I see these Hawaiian orange marigolds full of bumblebees, but not today at the moment for some reason. Either way, they are a beautiful, brilliant orange. I mean, man, these things are sharp orange and excellent for all sorts of stuff, digestive health, skin health, that kind of thing. You can see we're about to blow up many, 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 many more flowers. The sweet Thai basil is in a nice flowering fringe. That's had quite a few small pollinators, those little mini pollinators, all different types, and also a lot of bumblebees. I have seen a few honeybees in it here and there, but not a lot of them, which I'm a little surprised at, but a little less surprised now that I see that they're not even into that goldenrod very heavy, but they are running out somewhere. I'd love to know what resources they're after at the moment. Judging by our little walk there, it looks like maybe some clover and some goldenrod. I think I just saw one in here, but it might not be a honeybee. Where'd he go? Oh, there's a bumbler. There's a little pollinator of some sort. There's a honeybee. Yeah, there was a honeybee. Just came out of the sweet Thai. Now he's over here scanning through. And there's also a moth who won't stay still for the camera. And there's a bumblebee that just came off of the... He's working these flowers. Oh, there's that moth. Ah! Every time I move the camera, I think he's camera shy. He flies away. Anyway, there's a bumblebee working these. Maybe here's a spot we can get in where it's not completely full of growing plants. Getting in to look at some of these peppers. Yeah, okay. We got a few jalapenos on. Lots of flowers setting on there. I'd like to, hard to view those from overhead. They're a kind of a hanging flower. So you almost want to be on the ground with the camera. Okay, well, so just observing. Take a quick look at these red Empress of India nasturtiums. Those are starting to come into their own, and boy, are they a beautiful red. For those of you who don't know, you can eat nasturtiums, both the flowers and the plant. They have a spicy flavor akin to black pepper. Quite a nice treat to add to a salad. They're taking off pretty good here and there. Squash is doing really well. Let's have a look at some of these gigantic fruit growing. They're looking good. There was some kind of a wild pollinator in here the other night. I did some weeding through here And every time I'd bump up against a squash flower, a closed squash flower, I'd hear this buzzing. And when I opened the squash flower, out would come this a little smaller than a honeybee, similar looking to a honeybee, but definitely not a honeybee. And they'd fly off. It's interesting to note. I wish I had grabbed the camera for that. And these delicata squash are popping up here and there. Glad I planted heavily. Looks like our germination is not super even, but they should fill this area in pretty good, I would think. And I'm going to go back and mulch in between these two blocks, and of course over the edge probably as well. Yeah, I caught a little honeybee thief. I've been cleaning up frames and putting new foundations in. Make sure I got her in frame here. And I've been keeping this bucket of wax here in the greenhouse as I'm packing it full from all that. I'm just in here charging up the drill to do some tomato staking. And I see this little honeybee in here. And sure enough, she's scabbing in wax. Which, I see this as a good sign because, or maybe propolis she's after, I don't know. But that means they're drawing those combs out and filling those foundations and getting ready to store more nectar. Kind of funny that she's back robbing this. But I thought it was an excellent video opportunity to get a nice close-up. You can see she's chewing that wax. And that's what they do to form it. So that's really a cool opportunity. And of course she, you know, I put my finger right down by her trying to shoo her off at first. She didn't pay any attention to me. She didn't even give me a second look. She's checking me out now. Flying around my head. Wondering what I'm doing. Or telling me not to rob her honey. I think she's just wondering what I was, why I was getting so close to her. But look at that. That is cool. Okay, just thought I would share this. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network.